Okay, this video is on calculating the surface area and volume on some of the more common shapes. So the first one we're going to talk about here are some prisms. Now this is what's called a rectangular prism. Now what makes it a prism is the fact that all the way through it's going to be the same shape. So at the start I have a rectangle, the back out a rectangle. If I was to cut the shape anywhere in the middle, I'd also have this rectangle of the same size. So it's the same size or same shape, continuous all the way through. Now for this rectangular based prism, my volume would be the formula length times width times height. So I take my values that I'm given and I just put in the formulas. So I'd have 10 for my length, my width would be 3, and my height would be 4. Provided that all the units are the same, you don't need to make any adjustment. Multiplying them all together, 10 times 3 times 4 is going to give me 120 feet, and because it's volume, feet cubed. When it comes to surface area is the area of all, in this case, 6 sides kind of added up. So you have front and back, which are the same size, same shape, and so you're going to have 2 of them. You have side to side, which are going to be the same shape, you're going to have 2 of them. You have top and bottom, same shape, you're going to have 2 of them. So I'm going to have 2 length times width for the in that case it would be the top and the bottom. And I'd have 2 length times height, which would be the front and the back. And then I'm going to have 2 width times height would be the 2 sides. So again, put your numbers in the formula. So I'd have 10 times 3 plus 2, and I'd have 10 times 4 plus 2. Now the side to side, I would have 3 times 4. Multiply them. I want to have 60. I'll have 80, and I'll have, add these all up, and I want to have 24. Add up all 3 of these scenarios, and you're going to have 164, in this case, feet squared. Okay, the next shape is also a prism. This is called a cylinder. And a cylinder is a prism because of the top and the bottom are the same shape. They're a circle. In this case, the circle has a diameter of 6, which means that the radius of this is 3. It's half of what the diameter is. So my volume is going to be pi r squared times the height, which is the area of the bottom, the circle, multiplied by the height of it, or the length of the prism. Okay, and that's also the same for volume of any prism. Here my volume is length times width times height, which was the area of the one side multiplied by how long that entire shape is. All prisms work like that for the volume. Okay, so here I have, going back to my cylinder, I have pi, my radius was 3, so 3 squared, multiplied by the height, which is 10. Okay, so I'm going to do the 3 squared first, which is 9. So I'm going to have pi times 9 times 10. 9 times 10 is 90, so I'm going to have pi times 90. Now for pi, that is equal to 3.14. But it's also, you have a button on your calculator that gives you pi to a few more decimal places. So I'd use the calculator, and I'm going to go 90 times pi equals 282.7, and in this case, feet cubed because it's volume. Surface area, okay, the surface area, you have 2 pi r squared for the top and the bottom areas, plus 2 pi r h, which is the area going all the way around the side. Again, put the numbers in the formula. 2 pi, my r is 3, so 3 squared plus 2 pi, 3 times 10. And I'm going to do each one independently and then add them together at the end. So I'm going to have 3 squared is 9, times 2 is 18 pi, plus 2 times 3 times 10 is going to give me 60 pi. 18 times pi is 56.5, plus, and 60 times pi is going to give me 188.5. Add them all up, the two parts of it, and you're going to get 245 feet squared. Okay. Now the next shape is not a prism, it's a pyramid. Now pyramids always have, for their volume, a divide by 3. Okay, and that's because the volume, how much space that a pyramid occupies is 1/3 of that of a shape if the same dimensions if it was not a pyramid, if it was just a prism. So in this case, I have a rectangular base. I have a rectangle on the bottom, based pyramid. So it's going to be volume equals length times width times height, which would be the volume if it was a prism, but divide by 3. So length times width, in this case is both 10, so 10 times 10. And then my height of it, I'm actually not given my height. I need to go and figure that out. Now to figure that out, for this case, if you look, I have a right angle triangle inside this pyramid. And I want to figure out the height of it. So I'm going to redraw this triangle, just to make it look a little bit easier. I have 6 going up on the diagonal. I know my height goes right to the middle. The entire side is 10, so that means it's going 5 units over. And I need to figure out my height. Now this is a right angle triangle, which means that the Pythagorean theorem works for the hypotenuse. In this case, but my hypotenuse is 6. And we're going to call this missing side b. So I would have 5 squared for the one shorter side plus b squared equals 6 squared. 5 squared is 25 plus b squared equals 6 squared is 36. I'm going to rearrange and get b by itself. So b squared equals 36. And I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. Subtract 25. So b squared equals 11. And b is going to equal the square root of 11, which is 3.3. Okay, so now I have my height. My height is 3.3. So I can put that into the formula. Divide by 3. So I'm going to have 10 times 10 times 3.3 divided by 3, which gives me 110, and that's my volume, meters cubed. For surface area, you need to add up all the areas all the way around. Now I have 4 triangles, and I have a rectangle on the bottom. To add up, I need to add up those areas. So that means I want to have 4, and I want to have base times height divided by 2 for the triangles, plus a length times width for the area of my rectangle. And you may need to adjust it if your shape is not a complete square, but you need to add up all the areas of all the sides going all the way around. So I have 4, now base times height. That's the height of the triangle. So this height is going to be a little bit different than what I use for the volume. I got to think of the height of the triangle in this case, which is 6. So I'm going to have my base is 10. My height of the outside triangles is 6 divided by 2. My length and width for my rectangle is just 10 times 10. So I have 4. Then I have 10 times 6, which is 60, divided by 2, which is 30, plus 100. 4 times 30 is 120, plus 100. I'm going to have 220 meters squared, being the surface area of that rectangular based pyramid. Okay? Alright, so this is a short little lesson on surface area and volume of some three-dimensional shapes. And again, use the formulas and put the numbers in the formula and try and simplify before you put it in your calculator. Thank you very much.